Hey guys, Matt, Straight Race Cards here, and I am so excited today to do an SGC reveal of the 16 card order that I sent in about 6 weeks ago. And so as I was reflecting on these cards, I just was really thankful for these cards and just the privilege to own these cards and the privilege to curate them, because these cards, while some of them may not have a lot of value on paper, there's a ton of meaning and sentimental value to me. These are all PC cards that I just could not be more excited about. So I'm going to walk you through these cards, and I'm going to go a little bit different about it. Rather than just showing grades, I want to talk about kind of the meaning why behind these cards, why these cards point me to something greater. And so I'm just excited to share this with you, because I think this specific group of 16 cards really encapsulates who I am as a collector and as a person. And so I think as I go through this order, you'll see a little bit of my heart and just some of my passion. And so again, that's part of the reason why I'm just so excited to share this with you guys. So let's look at some cards, but really appreciate you watching, guys. Okay, so I have a stack of 16 cards that I got back from SGC, and I'm going to go through them. And I've got a few different buckets, and I spread this out so that you'll get, it'll be a little baseball, a little track and field. We'll go back to baseball and then finish with some of my absolute favorite cards. Okay, first, we have got a banger, 1968 Topps Al Kaline. I just love this wood grain card, and it tells you how good I am at grading it. So I got this card for free from Rob Bowling, I believe, off Twitter. Super grateful for that. I thought I was going to get a 4, came back a 7. So again, for 15 bucks, I mean, come on, can't beat that. So love that. Didn't expect to own a 7 in the K-Line run. Here we go, another 68. This is the 68 Topps game card. And I'd love your opinions. Did SGC overgrade this order? So I thought this card, because of the back, you can see there's some staining right here, as well as the card is just really off-centered, left to right. So I thought I was going to get like a 2 or 3. Came back a 5. So we'll take it. Again, this isn't a card. It didn't matter what the grade was. It's going in my collection and not leaving. So really awesome card there. Next, we've got a 1969 Al Kaline. I guessed it was going to be 4, and lo and behold, it came back a 4. So nailed that one. Pretty clean card throughout. Corners aren't perfect. It's off-centered left to right, but again, it's okay. It was another card that I knew exactly what it was going to get, and that's what happened. So kudos to SGC for getting the order done exactly what we predicted. That's what you want. Okay, so next, 1925 Turf Cigarettes High Jumping. So again, a card I wasn't sure that I was going to originally grade. Came back super high. Just really pleased with this. Just the colors pop, and in the SGC slab, I love it. So you can see the high jump. I think I guessed this as a 5, and it came back a 5.5. And when I look at this high jumping card, as well as the next card, which is the pole vault card, the pole jumping, man, what I love about this is these remind me of my father-in-law, who was a pole vaulter at the Citadel. And man, it's just really fun to have a connection with him through cards. And so when I see these, I think of him. He's one of my best friends, which I'm so grateful for. And we just like to give each other a really hard time. It's a blast. And so time with my father-in-law is always a joy. So it's just fun that I can connect through cards and smile when I see that because it reminds me of him. Next, very kind of obscure Olympic card. There's this amazing guy on Net54 that gave me this card for the Net54 Secret Santa. He said it was one of the most well-centered copies of this card he had ever received. And so he gave it to me because he knew he was a track guy. So this is of Emil Zatopek. He won, I want to say, kind of the Triple Crown back in the day. But, you can see it's got, I assume that's German, but I don't know what language it is. But this is the Cosmos 1952 Olympic set. And Emil Zatopek won the gold medal in the 10K. And that was a race that I ran in college. So I love seeing this card. Reminds me of running the 10K, a race that really no one wanted to run except for myself and a few others. That was my meal ticket on the bus. I wasn't good enough to make it in the mile, and so I just kept moving up, and the 10K ended up being my sweet spot. Next, a little Jesse Owens action. This is my first playing days Jesse Owens card, and it's not an expensive card, but I was so grateful to get this back. I predicted this would be a 5, and it came back a 5. So really cool card. It gives a little highlight of Jesse Owens. It talks about Jesse, being nicknamed the Black Panther, and he's, set all kinds of records. Really cool card. And so when I think of Jesse Owens, for me, I see this card and I'm reminded of scripture. I'm reminded of 1 Corinthians 9:24 and the calling on my life to run in the way to receive the prize. And you better believe it, Jesse Owens did. My pastor is actually a sports card collector, super cool, but he was talking about this Sunday of, as runners do their finishing kick, which means giving all they have, doing the same in life. And so we want to run in a way where we have a strong kick and finish the race of life well. And so that Jesse Owens reminds me of that. So what a cool card that points me back to something higher. Some more Turf Cigarettes cards. I broke this up because we're moving from the kind of field events now to the running. These colors are immaculate. This is everything cross country is all about. And to me, I see these and I'm just reminded of the early mornings, just the time and sweat and blood and tears that I poured into cross country. And running, was such a big part of my life and still is a big part of my life. And so it's so amazing to have all those memories flood back when I see a card of my cross country days. And then after college, my goal was to qualify for the Olympic marathon trials. I fell short of that, but, was able to ran a marathon, and it didn't go great, but I spent a lot of time training and, I look back on those memories fondly. And so I think this is another example of a card that was massively overgraded. I think the corners are all rounded. It's a little off-center. I guess the picture is centered, but the bottom of the card, sticks out. So I don't know what SGC was thinking there. I actually had this down as like a 2 or 3, and it came back a 5. So you know what? I'll take it. So again, I think SGC may have overgraded some cards, and you see the theme here with this same kind of similar deal, fat kind of bottom of the card, and it ended up getting a 4.5. I had this down for a 3.5, I think. So I just love these though. And again, I love the old school running image. These are just beautiful. And these cost $1 to $3 per card. Who's going to grade these? Probably no one else. They're probably Pop One. But I am, because they remind me of something much greater. And that camera dropped. But regardless, man, when I see this running card, I think about, Hebrews 12 that talks about, running the race with endurance, looking to Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. And what a great encouragement to look at a card and it points me back to truth. So, again, this is why cards to me bring me so much joy, is because I can look at them and find so much more meaning than just a piece of cardboard. I love it. And so this, it's just something that I get really fired up about. So anytime I can find a card that does that, man, it is really hard for me to pass up on, because I just get super excited about things that point me back to truth. Okay, moving on to some baseball. John Vandermeer. Why is John Vandermeer a card on my list? Well, I have an uncle who is named John Vandermeer, and so super cool that there is a leaf card of a John Vandermeer and that he threw a no-hitter. I think that mentions it in here. It does not, but it's still a great card. And, when I look at this John Vandermeer, I'm reminded of a lot of things. My Uncle John would always take me and my dad, we'd all go hunting together out to my Uncle John's place. And I just am reminded of all those times that I spent with my dad and so many great memories with the two of them. And so as I look at this card, it really points me back to my own journey as a father now, and just this idea of I want to invest in my sons and daughter now in the same way that my dad invested in me, that my Uncle John invested in me in all those hunting trips. So again, it's a little bit of a stretch to some people, but is a lot of meaning to me in an awesome card like John Vandermeer. Plus, it's a great card. I thought this was going to get there's a lot of like dirt and debris on this card. I thought that was going to be docked for it. I don't know a whole lot about Leaf, but came back a 5. That is honestly more than I could ever ask for. I was thinking 2.5, so very happy. I think I thought the dirt was going to dock it, but it didn't. Okay, so Ted Lyons. So I've talked a little bit about Ted Lyons on my channel, but the really cool connection between Ted Lyons and myself is that we are both Baylor University track and field alumni. So Ted played baseball and ran track at Baylor. I think he ran the 800, I still call that distance, but I just love the fact that I can connect to a pre-war Hall of Famer in such a unique way. And so I love Ted Lyons cards. He just seemed like a really great clubhouse guy. So I'd love to grab more Lions cards. I thought this was going to get a 1-5 because it was a little rounded. I don't know how graders typically look at Diamond Star cards, but it turned out, I'm looking at it again, it's just such a clean card. There's nothing else to it. Obviously, you have the rounded corners, but no creases. Really beautiful card. Super happy. That's in a 3. Okay, and then last and not least, here are my 4. These are kind of my premier cards I've been wanting to get graded for years now. And this is my Chariots of Fire run. So, Aubrey Evelyn Montague, the card that I didn't think existed, that I found from a dealer in London, way overpaid, but this was worth it because he is a member of the Chariots of Fire, kind of big 4. This is a true 1 of 1. No grading company has ever graded a it really should be 1922 Bunsen confectionery, but they looped it into the famous figures, which that's fine. But again, 1 of 1, and I'm just reminded of Aubrey Montague's humility. Even in the movie, just the way he carried himself, that John 3:30 attitude. He must become greater and I must become less. And so I love looking at this card because it reminds me to always stay humble. And so that is really special to me. Henry Stollard, kind of a minor Chariots of Fire guy, but still in the movie. He was the British captain of the Olympic team, maybe in 24. in the 800 meters. So another cool nod to 800-meter runners. Really great card from that 1924 Gallagher card. It's interesting, they actually said 1923 on that label, but it should be 24. Next up, Harold Abrahams, the 100-meter Olympic champion. Love this card. You can see the trees in the background. You can even see the track gates behind it, him doing a long jump. Super special card. It talks about his long jumping effort. I'm surprised they didn't want to have a card of his 100-meter, but he was still a great long jumper because he held the British record for a long time. So certainly worth commemorating. When I see Abrahams, I'm just reminded of his determination. Last but not least, guys, this is the card I have wanted more than any other card. This is why my channel was created, because of a love for Eric Liddell and how Eric ran the straight race of life, committing his life to being excellent at what he did. He was a 400-meter champion in the Olympics, but way more than that, Eric devoted himself to a life of faithfulness, a life of humility. And there's a speech that was in the movie called The Straight Race, and it says, "Behold, the kingdom of God is within you. If you, with all your heart, truly seek me, then you shall ever surely find me. If you commit yourself to the love of Christ, then that is how you run the straight race." And that is, again, that's why I do this channel, is because I want to run the straight race, and I want to do that in my card collection. And so with each one of these cards, I hope they do point me back to something better. I hope they point me back to truth, so I can look at these every day to remind myself of why I'm here. And so I hope you guys are encouraged by that video. I hope that you guys can go find some cards that, point you back to something meaningful. It may not be your faith, it may be something else, but I'd encourage you. Collecting gets way more fun when you find something that really excites you and gives you meaning. I am so grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for just the chance to own these cards. They're very special to me, and I'll cherish them for a long time. Thanks, you guys, and keep running the straight race.